Endless Space 2. Dude, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would actually be playing a freaking 4X game. I like RTS games, but even when it comes to RTS games, I'm actually pretty selective. Like the only 2 games that I've actually played is Age of Empire 1 and 2. Okay, 3 games. Age of Empire 1 and 2 and Dawn of War 2. But besides that, no, not really. And to be honest, at first I had no idea what a 4X game even was. And even then, once I actually figured out what a freaking 4X game was, I was so intimidated by the several layers of complexity. Just looking at it, I was like, what do you mean I can't just pick up my units and tell them to go pew pew at my enemies? I recently just got back into RTS games, mainly Dawn of War, heavily modded, I might add. Then I got started on some motherfucking Age of Empires too. Oh, love it. It's something fun to play with a group of friends, as in getting washed by AI on normal. But after each game, I started to crave something more. So I started searching on Steam, you know, what you usually do, while hanging out in the Discord chat. Then one friend was like, hey, you look for something more? Maybe you should try a 4X game. I was like, oh, whoa, what's that? Long story short, a few hours later, and boom, Endless Space 2. Bruh, when I tell you I was addicted to this game, I mean, I was freaking addicted, taking that shit straight to my vein. To be more clear, I put in 32 hours in the first 3 days of owning this game on Steam, and that was all in one freaking run of the game. That at the time, I haven't even finished yet. Now, I've put upwards of double that, and I finished 1 multiplayer game and 1 single player game. And let me tell you, I had to force myself to stop, or else nothing would freaking get done, including this freaking video. This may just be me and my personality. I mean, I do go pretty hard on something when I sink my teeth into it, but hey, it ain't all like that. But hey, it ain't all like that with everything. But hey, it ain't like that with everything. So it's something here. By the nature of this game, there's just so much to talk about, and I'm super excited to talk about it. But with that in mind, I'm just going to say this now. I'm not going to be able to cover everything in this video, but what I will do is give you a brief overview, a taste, if you will, of my personal experience of Endless Space 2 and 4X games in general. And hopefully, by the end of it, I can take out that overwhelming fear to take on something that looks so freaking complex. But that's it. Let's get into it. So what is Endless Space 2 exactly, you ask? ES2 is what we're going to be calling it from here on out. It's kind of like a Mass Effect simulation game. At least that's the way I like to look at it. It's like playing Mass Effect as Commander Shepard, you know, doing Shepard thing, exploring the awesomeness of the space. But instead of just commanding the Normandy in your squad, you're also in charge of commanding the entirety of the System Alliance. I mean, that's all of humanity, managing the military, the colonies, the political sphere within, and also intergalactic relations, all at the freaking same time. I know what you're thinking, but the same thing I was thinking. How in the freaking freak am I supposed to manage all that? Well, luckily for us, this game is turn-based, as in everyone in the game session has to hit in turn in order for time to progress in the game, which makes things so much easier for newbies like me, since there's just so much to take in when you first start. I mean, look at it. Look at this freaking interface, dog. Oh, if you thought that was it, you're in for a wild ride, baby. I'm talking menus on menus, drop downs, which lead to more drop downs, which lead to more menus. At first, it's super overwhelming when you start going, and then you start going, what is this thing? And why is it relevant to me? But as you read and as turns progress, all of these somehow unrelated items are actually puzzle pieces for you to put together and create your own amazing 4X experience. Oh my God, I love it. Can you tell that I love it? It's amazing how in 40 turns, you go from, bruh, how do I move my ships, to commanding an entire fleet to head to those who fucked around and are now about to find out. Oh, and that reminds me, before we go any further, let's talk about the different major factions in the game. I don't know a lot about the backstory about every single race and every single faction. There are 8 major factions in the game, and I kind of want to just go through it real quick because they're freaking awesome. All right, let's start off with the Vultures. The first major faction we're going to be talking about are the Vultures. They are the epic cool space nomads. Okay, just look at them. Look at that shit. Look at this shit. They got cool space armor with their cool space shields while wielding freaking cool ass space hatchets, axes, freaking space crossbows. I mean, how can you not love these guys? They left their dying homeworld and are currently in search of a new one. From what I know, they're pretty big into tech and ground fighting, which we'll get into later. They can also make freaking portals and shiz, which is so freaking cool. These guys are so cool, dude. And also, look at this design. This is stellar freaking design, dude. I really do love seeing a spacefaring faction wielding freaking swords and shit. It's just so cool. I mean, come on. The Unfallen are the freaking tree people. They have mainly stuck to their home world, focusing on peacefully studying the surroundings rather than expansion. They see themselves as guardians of peace and harmony within the galaxy. The cool thing about them is that when they colonize planets, you can literally see their branches stretch across space and warp around the system. It's so freaking cool. But if I want to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I freaking hate the tree people. I hate them. They're actually not that bad, technically. At least I don't think so. It's just that every time I've started a game, these tree mofos pretended to be nice with me while literally screwing me over, bro. And then on top of that, they will turn around and be like, bro, I was trying to be so nice to you and you just forced our hand, saying all that while invading your freaking home world to the point where you have to pack your bags and evacuate your home system with your tail in between your legs like a scared puppy just to find a new home in another constellation across the galaxy. And during your long journey, you have plenty of time to think about your mistakes, those you've lost, then start plotting your revenge. Over the next 50 to 100 turns, you build, you trade, you bargain, you aggressively invest into your military technologies. Because if the run-in with the Unfallen have taught you anything, is that this universe is cold. It is not kind. There are some who only want to do harm, and the only language that they understand is violence. And with your newfound tech, you begin to conquer. World by world, system by system, constellation by constellation, until you reach the doorstep of the land that was torn from you. With your military might, you rip your homeland from the branches of those oppressors. And oh, it doesn't stop there. Oh no. You follow those branches with a sea of fires back to the roots of those who dare to oppose you. Oh yeah, my bad. Where was I? Oh yes, yes, the Riftborn, or as my friend likes to call them, Space Legos. These Space Legos actually came from a separate freaking dimension, one that is orthogonal to the endless universe and timeless. These mofos are freaking immortal. They probably still are. The only reason why they actually came here is they had to escape a disease that was tearing apart their universe, no matter what the freak they did. And these mofos are highly advanced, so it had to be bad. When they came to the endless universe, they settled on a snowy planet which they named Vanguard, which they didn't even like, well, maybe a little, since they viewed the snow as clean and pristine, which is something that the Riftborn really value, which I think it has to do with the dimension that they're from. They are also another tech-centric faction and have the sleekest design. Just look at that. Look at the model. Look at the leader. Look at the ships. Sleek. They literally have the coolest. Also, they have probably the best theme song in the game. Like, they're not even my favorite faction, but the theme song freaking slaps, dog. I'm not sure if I can play it, but I'm at least gonna link it down below for you, okay? Because you have to see it, okay? Listen to it, okay? All right. Oh, and the piece of resistance, these are interdimensional mother freaking time benders, bro. They can make these things called time bubbles that can switch over an entire star system and adjust the flow of time in a myriad of different ways. Like, which is so freaking cool. And like how it translates to in-game stuff, you can actually warp the time to speed up the production of your stuff. It's so cool. These mofos are badass Space Legos, okay? You have to respect the Space Legos. Next we have Horatio, aka Space Trump. Actually, no. I take that back. He's actually more like a mix of Trump and what Elon Musk thinks he is combined, you know what I mean? But in space, all right? Bro, he is described as a rich and exceedingly eccentric trillionaire who grew tired of his home empire, the Mazari, and he was just like, yo, screw this. I'm gonna venture out and go solo. Oh, it doesn't end there. When he got to his first habitable planet, he immediately stepped off the ship and declared himself emperor and took that bitch over. Oh no, it keeps going. He then calls the planet of all the endless tech to gain unnatural extensions to his life. Then he used that same technology to continue to perfect his own physical form. And you think it's done? No. This motherfucker kept going. He was like, enough is not enough for Horatio. And when he got bored of all that, he then decided to clone himself. And with the horde of Horatios, build an empire of just himself to fill the entire galaxy with more Horatio. This guy is just so full of himself. I mean, I've heard of self-love, but bruh, this is taking it way too far. I will point out, I might not like the guy. I don't necessarily like the faction and like how he operates and whatnot. But what I will dig is his ships got drip, dog. Look at that black and gold. Tasty, okay? All right? I feel you, son. I feel you. I'll give Horatio that. Nothing else though, okay? Let's move on. It's not that hard to see that the United Empire is pretty much space America, okay? This is the future of Space Force as we know it. This is what Earth's future would look like if it was unified under one nation that was built on a military industrial complex. The United Empire rules with an iron fist and is not afraid of using it. They take what's theirs because for the Empire, everything is theirs. I like how factions like this translate to actual gameplay. Like for instance, two of the Empire's major traits is construction and influence. There's other things, but these are the major ones that really impacted. Using their military might and fat wallets to throw their weight around all willy-nilly at the negotiating tables. And believe you me, these people are not fun to try to negotiate with. Unless you're talking about making trade deals, then you might have more luck. But if you're on the bad side, then sorry, too late. There's no trading. They'll just take it and make you a part of the Empire. Okay, this is actually the faction that I had the most time with, seeing as how this is the faction I chose for my very first game. Not gonna lie, I totally chose them off of form, not function, as their function is complicated as all get out. But to sum things up, the Void-Yadi people were pretty much on the verge of extinction due to their own perils. They were pretty much committing Sudoku, if you will, okay? Saved only by finding the ruins of the Endless and utilizing their technology. The Endless are the precursors, kind of like the Forerunners of the Halo universe. Because of that, the Void-Yadis began to worship the Endless and formed a religion around them. They then create these dope looking black suits out of their new tech that they all don, which they call the Cloth. I actually want to read a part of the description that I found on the wiki. Here we go. Okay, here we go. The Void-Yadi seek other people. Sorry. The Void-Yadi seek other people to convert, control, and consume as they survive through the simple expedience of draining other peoples of their life force. While many view this as grotesque, the Void-Yadi see themselves as chosen by the Endless and deserve their stature. They are simply higher on the food chain than all the other races, and that's that. Bruh. And for some reason, I thought that I could be the good guys of the galaxy playing as these mofos. I mean, I tried. I really did. I was all peaceful and shit, but then by the end of it, I was abducting entire civilizations into my empire and literally draining every planet I came across for its resources. Bruh, played right, these guys are terrifying. I was scared of myself by the end of the first game. Oh, also, they have this interesting mechanic where instead of living on the planets that you colonize, the Void-Yadi instead live on these giant ships that they call Ark. Think of like the flotilla in Mass Effect. So whenever you want to move, you literally just pack up your Ark and GTFO. Probably my favorite thing about this faction, besides their awesome, unmatchable drip. Oh my God, dog. Look at it. Just look at it. Look at it. Can you blame me for choosing them? I mean, you can, and you be right. Even so, you can't deny how epic they look. They will always be my first love. But I think in the future, I want to actually learn how to play them better. Actually play them right. I was just winging it the first time. We still won. Thank the Lord. We still won. But I feel like with my newfound knowledge and experience, I could do so much better. Yo, the Lumaris. Okay, so remember when I was talking about picking the Void-Yadi out of form over function? Well, the Lumaris are 100% the function for me, okay? This faction has like my ideal playstyle. Money, baby, currency, fat cash, dust. Give it to me. Shut up. I can hear you judging me from all the way over here, okay? I don't want to hear it, okay? Look at that. Okay. While we're at it, I'm going to read you the description of them real quick, okay? All right. Here, you ready? Okay. All right. You ready? Okay. Here we go. The Lumaris are a society that revolves around trade, economic deals, economic growth, and doing business. Expansion and acquisition are the bywords of their culture. And as an amphibious people, they are prepared to make money play in any environment. Their society is organized around a series of families that have traditionally run different parts of their economy, and the balance of power and negotiations between the families is what drives progress or blocks it. Yo, you know what I like most about the Lumaris? I hope I say that right. Lumaris. I think it's Lumaris. Yeah, Lumaris, whatever. Lumaris. No, we're gonna say Lumaris. All right. They don't come off like the greedy, power-hungry, sloth-type factions that I usually see represented in games and other media. As someone who always plays a lawful good player in role-playing games, I always find it hard to be able to do other ish that I really like to do because of how certain actions are portrayed. I like commerce in games. I don't know when it started, I don't know why. I just know that I do, and I find a crap ton of fun doing it. I have played a lot of MMOs growing up, and I would spend way too much time trading. And if there was an open market in the game, your boy was all over it. This faction for me embodies that feeling. These lizard fish people love trading and commerce as much as I do. And on top of that, they're actually a peaceful faction. I know, right? That's what I said. I mean, you can technically play them any way you want to, but my first solo game with them, which I won, by the way, okay, I played the role of peacemaker in the galaxy. Not through military might, have you, but by trade and diplomacy. Check your boy out. Motherfucker diplomacy, dog. Yo, I felt so freaking powerful by the end of the game. At one point, the United Empire tried to start a war with me and other factions, which was gonna mess up the trade routes, aka messing with my money, which if you didn't know, that's a big no-no with your boy. So I went to the negotiation table on behalf of the galaxy pretty much, okay? Because I was that guy, you know, at the time at least. I was like, look here, homie. I know you the big dog on games and all that. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. All right. But listen here. If you shoot even one person, if you do anything as much as raise your voice at a civilian or anything else kind of threatening, I will end our trading agreement, which, to let you guys know, which at this point, I was funding his entire military and by extension, his entire freaking empire. I was like, I also said, I was like, yo, I will then fund your enemies, giving them supplies, cold hard cash, and I'll even give them colonies in your backyard, dog. Oh, that's not all. And I will also up the price of production of everything in your constellation by 400%. I was like, I just put that, just slid that across the table. Was like, hey, do with that what you do. Do with that what you will, big homie. Bruh, I've never seen the Empire do such a 180 so freaking fast, bro. Invite me out for drinks. It's like, brother, friend, what do you mean? We're friendly. Come on for drinks. It was great. That's the thing about Endless Space. The fact that you can do stuff like that. I absolutely love that you can do that in this game. Having multiple ways to play it, multiple win conditions, it's so great. Okay, I'm gonna stop ranting because we still got 2 more factions to go through. The Cravers, aka the Space Flood. Wait, hold on. The Flood were in space, though. The Flood. Anyway, they're scary, dog. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Matter of fact, let me read a description of these mofos for you. Created by the Endless from an insectoid life form, the Cravers are the purest sense of hunter-gatherers who never have independently evolved the systems and infrastructures needed to raise crops and domesticate animals. Their life cycle is based on consumption, and as such, they're capable of digesting any form, plant, or animal matter. What the fuck? As their whole world is close to being consumed, they must leave in search of further nourishment. For if they do not continue to expand, discover, and exploit new worlds, their society will eat itself to death. Feeding the hive is their all-consuming purpose. The notion of treaty, trade, peace do not exist. Okay, all right. It's the last line. That last line is what gets me the most, dude. There is no trading with these mofos. There is no talking to the Cravers, okay? All they do is eat. The Cravers do not miss a meal. They come into your crib, fixing themselves a plate, dog, and even before they're done eating, they're already wrapping up a to-go plate in aluminum foil, bro, and they ain't asking either. Straight savages. And bro, I'll be real. Out of all the factions, this one scares me the most, which I will admit has a lot to do with the way I play the game, but also the lore and how it directly translates to gameplay. Like, when they colonize a planet, they literally consume everything on it. Leave it barren, then move on to the next one. Dude, imagine exploring the galaxy and just stumbling on one of these desolated planets that the Cravers left behind. Yep, nope. I want to be as far away from them as possible at all times, you feel me? All right, last but not least, we're going to talk about the sofa. Curious, analytical, and inquisitive, the Sophons are people who pride knowledge above all else. No theory or machine is so perfect that it couldn't be improved with a bit of tinkering. Advances come both in great leaps in tiny increments, and occasionally violent explosions. The Sophons travel the galaxy driven by their thirst to discover and understand. As such, they view war as nothing more than a distraction from the important things in life. However, with their advanced technologies, they can become a surprisingly dangerous foe. Okay. In concept, I like these guys, but in game, they are annoying AF, bruh. Holy crap. They are super nosy, always in your shins for no reason. And as soon as you turn your back, they are colonizing the planet right from under your feet. Keep in mind though, your boys have been biased. I can admit that, okay? I'm speaking from my limited experience of playing with them and playing against said faction, all right? Voice acting for the Sophons is actually awesome though. They are so carefree for the most part, having a one-track mind of science, which I can totally respect. Just like the other factions, all their key characteristics are translated very well into gameplay. Remember when I said they will take a colony right from under your feet? Well, that's because their faction is heavily invested into the science skill tree and resources which allow themselves access to be able to cloak their mother freaking ships, which is so cool and super dangerous. Not saying that other factions can't do it, it's just that they're most likely to do it a lot quicker and better. One minute you think you're alone, next minute there's a fleet of green mofos at your doorstep. They may look small and fun-loving, but do not be deceived. Keep in mind that this is just a brief overview of all the factions. There's a ton more info like specific faction traits, characteristics of their main population to take into account, even more lore to dive into, etc, etc. We don't have time for all that shit in this video. This is another reason why I like ES2 so freaking much. There's so much to dive into. Each faction has its own lore, leadership, home world, societal standards, spaceships, etc, etc. It's so awesome. Playing each major faction is its own unique experience, which is great for replay value. Mind you, even just playing as one faction over and over again has its own replay value in itself. This is just an additional icing on this freaking lovely cake. But if you want me to make more in-depth content about ES2, then let me know what you want in the comments down below. And on your way back up, might as well go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss it when it comes out, okay? Each game you play, on average, is gonna be long as all get out. So from this point forward, I will be referring to it as a campaign. You have a lot of options here for the type of campaign that you want to run. Like, how many turns do you want it to go on for? The average being about 300 turns, but you could go all the way up to 600 turns. Keep in mind, my game that I did was 300 turns. And it's probably because it was my first game, but that was over 3+ days of gameplay. You can also choose what kind of win conditions you want, such as conquest. To win a conquest victory, you must control a certain percentage of the star systems in the galaxy. Supremacy. To win a supremacy, you must bring all major faction home systems under your control. So it's pretty much domination. It's like pretty much you killed off everybody else. There's a science win condition, which to win that, you have to research all 4 endless technologies, which is something that's pretty much the height of research in the game, which we'll get into later. Economy victories involve earning a certain amount of dust throughout the entire game. The amount of dust required depends on the speed of the game and the size of the galaxy that you choose. For example, if you're in a large galaxy playing at a normal speed, aka 300 turns, you will need to accumulate 630,000 dust to win. My second run through, which was an economic victory that I did, I had to earn 2 million dust to win. There's also a wonder victory. The requirements for the wonder victory are that the empire must construct a certain number of obelisk of time. These are things that you have to research and you have to actually physically build using the industry resource to build it. Industry is a resource, we'll get into that later. And last but not least, there's a score victory. If you have the highest score at the last turn of the game, depending on the settings, you'll win the game. Your score is determined based on your population, your colonized star systems, system level, technology, trade, hero levels, battles, quests, and laws. It takes all of that into account in order to determine who is the victor. Just these victory conditions alone opens the door for so many different play styles. It's insane. Also, if there are certain conditions you just don't like, or you want to play your campaign in a specific way, you just turn on the ones you want and turn off the ones you don't. Simple as that. You can also choose the type and the size of the galaxy, how dense you want it to be, and how many constellations there are in the galaxy. For clarity purposes, from the smallest to largest, it goes planets, then systems, which could also be black holes, gas giants, collapsing stars, nebulas, etc. Then constellations. There are several constellations that make up the galaxy that you'll be playing in. When you first start the game though, you can't really see shiz but your home planet or home system. Where you and everyone else starts is pretty much random. And you're literally going in blind, finding your way in the galaxy. You'll spend the majority of your time early on just exploring, finding new systems to colonize, and advancing your empire technologically. A lot of places you first visit, you'll notice that you cannot colonize them right away. It'll say something like hostile environment or missing technology, which all that means is that you do not have the proper technology in order to colonize that planet right now, aka you don't have the tech necessary to survive the harsher climates. While we're on the topic of research, let's talk about that for a minute. This is your research screen. It's broken up into 4 sections: science, economy, military, and empire and shiz. Each one's color-coded and gives you specific benefits. There are a lot of things to get into here, but the basics of it is you can research one of these items. Each item has a research cost. You pay that cost with the science resource. Depending on how much science resource you are producing, each turn will determine how long it will take you to research that said item. Research opens up the door for a bunch of super cool and insane stuff. You'll spend a lot of time here. Dude, you can research stuff like setting up trade companies or building an entire trade empire with a whole bunch of subsidiaries on different freaking planets and systems and stuff like that. Super cool. Obviously, it's cool stuff that I like to build, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Military technologies to create new ships, types, models, hulls, and modules that you can put on your ships to give it more speed, laser weapons, missiles, probes, you name it. You can probably do it here, okay? There are also a bunch of cool, faction unique stuff that you can research that are exclusive to the faction that you're playing, or that are exclusive to their respective faction. Now I know what you're thinking. I want to start researching the tech to build my freaking super cool mecha weeaboo anime armor empire, but how do I get the science? Well, my dear friend, that's where the Endless Resources system comes into play. So the Endless series of 4X games have a resource system called FITSI, which stands for Food, Industry, Dust, Science, and Influence. I'll go through each one of these and describe what they are, what they're used for. Food is used mainly to grow your population. Your population grows at a set rate of turns, as in every 30 or so turns, you'll get more population to come to your colonized planet. The more food you have, the shorter the time it takes for you to get a new population. Let's say, for example, if you had around like 100 food, that 30 turns will now drop down to 20. That's not an exact science or exact numbers, but you get the idea. Starting to see a trend. It's kind of similar to how science works. The more you have of something, the quicker things happen. Industry. Similar to research, you have a queue or your systems where you can build stuff. These things can be system improvements, which are pretty much buildings, new ships, trading companies, or even building a freaking citadel. All that takes the currency industry to build. You don't stockpile it per se, but similar to the other currencies, the more industry you have, the faster you will be able to build stuff. Dust is a universal currency in the game. The closest thing we have to cash. You use it everywhere where you think you can. And some factions use it more than others, like the Luminaries. Instead of colonizing the planet, they colonize planets with pure hard dust. Okay, they just buy it. You mainly use dust to pay for things that you build for, and also to pay for upkeep costs for the buildings that you build, for your military, etc., etc. Science. We talked about this earlier. Science is used for researching technologies. Then there's influence. Influence, this isn't exactly part of the standard resource system, but I included it here because it's important nonetheless. Influence can be used mainly for diplomatic situations, such as assimilating a minor faction or signing peace treaties. Anytime where you need to negotiate something, generally you're going to be spending influence to do that. How do you get influence? You get influence via a wide range of things. You get influence by building bigger structures, having a big impact on the economy, by defeating another empire. Pretty much doing anything noteworthy in the game is going to get you influence. Now those are the basic resources. There are also two other types of resources, one of those being luxury. Luxury resources are more unique, as in they are unique to their system. Not every constellation has every type of luxury resource, making it more valuable to travel outside of your home system and your constellation to seek other resources, whether it be by forcefully seizing it or trading, or finding an uninhabited or uncolonized planet or system and buying those resources for yourself. There are a bunch of different luxury resources and they're used for a large number, but the most important of these things are upgrading your system levels. Depending on what luxury resources you use to upgrade your system will determine the benefits and the direction your system will go when you upgrade it. And the other type is strategic resources. Strategic resources, just like luxury resources, can be found on planets that you colonize. With the right technology, you can extract these resources. They also can be used for a number of things. I know. But I feel like they come into play or become more valuable the later the game goes on. Because when it comes to building stuff like ships, buildings, system improvements, etc., they cost dust. They generally all cost dust. But later on in the game, they start having higher dust costs as well as costing very specific strategic resources. Whew! Oh, I know that was a lot. I'm sorry for the info dump. And if you made it this far in the video, I am truly surprised and equally thankful. I love how all these factors can add up to a very unique campaign experience, where at first, all of this info just seems useless. You're like, how does this apply to me? And what am I doing? You're like, yo, how does all this shit apply to me and what I'm doing right now? But as you progress through the campaign of ES2, just like I said before, all the pieces of the puzzle just start to naturally come together. And honestly, there's still so much more that I want to talk about. Like how cool the space combat looks, how the soundtrack is banging as all get out, to the point where you can listen to it for literal hours with somehow not getting tired of it. The intricacies of diplomacy and warfare, and how you don't need a freaking behemoth class ship in order to completely take out an empire, hacking other minor factions, heroes, the freaking academy, and so much freaking more. But this script is getting way too long, and as for my first video up on this channel, I want to make sure that I freaking actually get it out. I want to finish it and get it out to you guys. So if you did watch all the way to the end, thank you. Seriously, thank you. And I hope that if you've gotten this far and you never thought you would play a 4X game, now you might reconsider that. Or at the very least, you found this video entertaining. Okay. Insert standard outro shits. If you did like this video, then go ahead and hit that like button. And if you didn't, hit the dislike button. Both helps me make better content for you. So I appreciate it either way. I didn't originally intend for this to be my very first video on the channel, as you can probably tell from the intro, if I left it in there. But I'm happy I did. But next week, I'll be releasing a video of Resident Evil 4. I am a big Resident Evil fan, so I had to tackle this game. So I'm excited to tackle this game. I'm still working on a proper format and series for the channel, so bear with me. We'll figure this thing out together as we go. And again, thank you. I can't say it enough. Oh, as of right now, the schedule for the channel is going to be every Thursday. I'm working on doing it weekly. The goal I promised myself is to stay consistent with the schedule for at least 90 days, which is one video a week for 3 months for a total of 12 videos. I'm not gonna say I'm not saying that after that I'm not gonna be producing any more videos. It's just a little goal I set for myself. So feel free to hold me accountable in the comment sections on Twitter. Okay, seriously, I'm done. I'll get out of here. Go enjoy your day. Okay, bye. Can't wait to see the next video. Love ya. This Lotus out.